Welcome to the first episode of
Chatter and
Cheers.
Today's menu, we are drinking an Fireball.
Angry Orchard, lemon juice, simple syrup, and then I added like a club soda and a little lemon peel. It's pretty yummy.
She's amazing. But for our very first episode, our theme is going to be first date flops because we've all been there at least once.
Or twice.
Or 3, 4, 5 times. Yeah. I don't know. You do you, girl.
Full transparency. We already know what the first story is about. We are having some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sorry about that.
But the other two are going to be blind reactions.
Yes.
This first story is from r/vent and it was posted 28 days ago and it's called I Got Called Boring on a First Date. I'm 20F, don't date much. This was my first date in months. He was funny, big personality, but I enjoyed it, and I told him that. We carved pumpkins and we were in my room chatting. He was weird, but I didn't mind. I liked it, I just thought maybe we were both different types of weird, but same nonetheless. As I told him how I thought he was attractive, we even talked about seeing each other again and how we had a great time together. He just looked me in my face and said, "You're attractive, but just kinda boring," and proceeded to point at the small corner I made for my interests. It's sad, yes, a couple of pictures I got from a convention in my crocheting, and I guess that showed that I was boring. I'm a homebody. I don't have money to go to concerts or go out all the time, and I don't have many friends. And I guess I don't do much in my life like he probably does. I don't have family aside from my sister. I'm going to therapy to deal with my social anxiety and just mental health overall, and it has been helping, which is why I gained enough confidence to try dating again. But there's something about being showed how boring you are, a real killer, LMAO. I deleted the stupid dating app I met him on. I want to say he was wrong, but genuinely I do live a boring life. I just like to work and crochet, trying to get into yoga, go to the library on my days off, or go to restaurants by myself. Period. And it hurts. I was genuinely myself on this date as well for once. I had enough confidence to have fun and just joke around and be happy. I feel like I keep going on these dates just to realize nobody likes that about me. I like my hobbies, I don't like to party or go on random adventures, I like being boring, I like the small corner I carved out for myself. I lost a lot of myself to depression, and I've slowly began to rebuild myself through my boring hobbies because I've started enjoying life again. And it just hurts to know that it isn't enough. It hurts to see someone point at my happiness and say, it's boring. It's a stupid thing and I'm going to move on from this, but still it hurts and I'll feel it for now. But it's okay, just needed a reminder that maybe I'm not built for dating currently. I'll just enjoy my own company in my own small world. Have any thoughts before we read comments? Again.
If I catch this man on the streets, it's over. I don't know, I feel like when going on dates, you have to go in with like an open mind about things like people's interests because like, yeah, you want to have some things in common, but to just kind of like dismiss the things that people like to do, I just feel like it's very like rude. Then I feel like you're not really gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna be able to like have a healthy relationship because as much as you want to have someone that's like identical to you and having so much things in common, it's also good to have those like differences and like a balance in a like good healthy relationship. I don't know, I think it was wrong on the guy's part to kind of just like not be open-minded about her life and like the things that she likes to do.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I also just think like in society, women are constantly shit on for going out and being with their friends and like traveling all the time, and men like to see it as like, oh well, they're just like, they're whores and they're sluts and like the only reason that they're traveling is because they're getting flown out by these guys and like having sex with them. Like not always the case, and I think that we cannot ever win. It's like if we stay in we're boring, we're a homebody and we're boring, or if we go out we're like sluts and we deserve nothing. I'm gonna read some comments. The first comment is, see the library and other things you do may be fun with someone else. Y'all are just into different things. People find books boring, but that's just because they don't want to read. Doesn't mean they're boring, does it? Which, good point. This person had a good point, which we love to see. You are busy getting to know yourself and planting seeds. I feel like you are a fun person and you should not let this person make you think otherwise. And someone replied to that comment and said, fun doesn't equal doing big, exciting excursions. It's fun to snuggle up and crochet. It's fun to enjoy things you like. Sounds like OP and this dude just aren't compatible. My partner and I are both boring people, but we love being boring together.
Cute. I love a little boring couple.
No fighting, nothing.
fighting.
They just vibe.
They just read books and hang out with their cats.
Read me a story to bed.
Period.
And I think that this person is on par with what you were saying. They commented, you sound fine and you have a number of different interests. He might not have found your interests very interesting, but that doesn't make you objectively boring. That dude was just mean. Really try to reject the idea that what he said was meaningful or true. He probably thought you were too attractive for him and wanted to bring you down and reject you before you could reject him for being a weird, ugly inside asshole. No notes, period.
Clock that. So the story that I chose is from Ask Reddit, and the question was, what is your worst first date story? The original post was archived, so I will be reading the comments. And it's from I Am a Swiftie. Period. It's from 8 months ago, so a little bit. It's kind of old from the beginning of the year, but still 2024. One of the guys who worked at my gym asked me to hang out one time. I said yes. When the day of our plans got closer, I asked if he had any thoughts on what we should do, and he said he could think of something. Come the day of the plans, I still hadn't heard back on what we were doing, so when we were discussing about what time to meet up, I asked again. His response was something along the lines of, wherever the wind blows us. I didn't have much time to think of anything. Which is wild because the man had days. But whatever, he was hot, so I went along with this.
Period. We've all done it.
And how? I drive over to his apartment and he drives us to the date. About 2 minutes into the drive, he cracks open a can of some sort. I look down, and what do I see he just opened? A White Claw.
While he's driving?
While driving. I questioned it, he offered me one, I declined, figuring at least one of us should not be drinking. And that was that. I asked him a third time where we were going, and it turns out there was no real plan for the evening. I was expecting we'd go to dinner and drinks or something, so I did not eat beforehand. We're just driving around and talking, and then we arrive at destination number 1, a really popular park in my city. Keep in mind, it was probably 8:30 at night, dark, and generally not a time where you want to be at a park with that man you're hanging out with for the first time.
Horror story vibes.
We got out of the car and walk to a spot with a nice water view and just chat for 30 to 45 minutes. And then we get back in his car and drive to a random lookout point where we chat for another 30 or so minutes. We end up talking about fast food french fries and what our favorites were, and turns out I had never tried his favorite, KFC. Where do we go next? KFC. It was probably 9:30 to 10 at this point, and I still had no actual dinner, so I wasn't too mad about this, TBH. To keep things condensed, here's the rest of our itinerary of the night. We drive to another park while he tells me about his work drama that he is involved in, while consuming 2 more White Claws. We drive back to his apartment complex, not to end the night, no, but to grab his 2 dogs. We then drive to, you guessed it, one more park. It's like 11:30 to 12 at this point, and I am starving as we are heading back to his apartment. Not a lot of late night food options where I live, so I was just planning to get some sort of gas station food on my way home. He offers to buy us pizza though, so I said sure, why not? I would love a free meal right now. We get the pizza, head up to his apartment, one of the first few things I noticed being a hole punched into his wall. And we sit and eat our pizza in silence while he watches this weird comedy series on YouTube. I finally tell him I'm going to go home. I get a very unenthusiastic goodbye. I believe his exact words were, "Fuck it?" And drive the hell home. I received a text the next day saying it's clear I wasn't feeling it. And then he switched gym locations and I haven't seen him since. Initial thoughts?
I guess I'm just confused as to what his intentions were, like, if he was just trying to, like, fuck and then that's it, or like, I guess I don't know why he was taking her to parks, or also like, why the fuck he was drinking a White Claw while driving. Like,
Right.
it is a really bold move to just crack open a cold one while you're driving at night.
Literally, that's insane.
Like, I'm confused.
Especially if you're just trying to have sex. You could have waited till you got home.
And
What's the point of
a first date.
right, a first date? And then the audacity to offer her one. That's kind of crazy.
Sharing is caring, at least.
Right, he likes to share. Let's see. Let's read some of the comments. First one says, sounds like all of that time you were chatting, he was hoping you would find the location romantic / it would get you in the mood and you would hook up. So yeah, it seems like everyone kind of got the vibe that he was just trying to hit it and then dip. Second comment says, maybe he really thought dating would be like hanging out with his buddies. He did ask you to hang out. I mean, that is the sort of thing I would do with my friends, minus the White Claws. Just drive around randomly, walk, talk about shit in the world, you know, a whole lot of nothing. That said, it seems the dude just wanted to smash and dash, or maybe smash and hang out, ?
He didn't quit it.
She did respond with, I look back on this from time to time and really wonder if he intended on this being a date or not. I totally may have misinterpreted things, lol. So yeah, it might have been a miscommunication, but either way, that man was like a walking red flag.
Yeah, there was like more than 3 in there that I could count.
Right, that hole in the wall, he's crazy.
Well, the like cracking open a cold one, not even just one, but like 3 total. Hole in the wall from like a punch.
Right. He's angry. He's an angry boy.
Her saying goodbye and him being like, well, just fuck it.
Right,
like, are you a teenage boy? And then I feel like there was another one that I was like, that's weird. Also the parks, like,
yeah.
2 parks?
Both.
At night?
Yeah. The second one, he brought his dogs.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't, like, what was the intention? Like, where did he think that was gonna go?
Yeah, that was kind of strange. These stories are giving more collapse for the men.
Yeah.
Not so much the women.
I don't think the women are, like, in the wrong at all here in either one of them.
Men are the issue.
This one is giving a little more, like, sinister. Third story and last story that we are reading is from r/dating story. It was posted 7 months ago. And it's titled, Worst First Date I've Ever Had.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah. This one's a little long. Back when I was still single and dating around, I went on a few dates in the same weekend. The first one wasn't bad, but just wasn't a connection. I got home from that and got back on the dating apps and matched with someone new. After a bit of talking, we made tentative plans to meet up the next day for lunch. Period. I love a little lunch date.
No, me too.
I have a feeling I won't like this story.
Oh.
I suggested we go for tacos, and she said that she had tacos the night before. I suggested barbecue, and she said she wasn't in the mood. Foreshadowing. I then suggested that we just go to the farmer's market where there's plenty of options to eat. She agreed. She suggested that I pick her up, but I don't really like to do that on first dates, so I said we should just meet at the farmer's market. It was a Sunday night in Nashville when we met up, and the traffic was bad, and it was a very hot day in August. It took a long time to find parking, but eventually we both did. I walked up and noticed she looked a bit different than her pictures. Not a deal breaker by any means, but admittedly put a sour taste in my mouth. She immediately started complaining about the traffic and parking. I kind of brushed it off and just wanted to have a nice time. We went inside and started looking at the options. I'm not a picky eater, so I was kind of letting her make the decision on where we wanted to eat while making suggestions here and there. She denied every suggestion.
Oh.
We walked around the entire place. When I asked, anything calling out to you? She replied with, there was this barbecue place around the corner that looked good. I bit my tongue and said, sure, that sounds great. That is so funny to me. We got the food, I paid for it, and we sat down. We started talking and the conversation was nice. It eventually came to a lull and she said, what should we do next? I offered that we go outside and look at all the vendors, so we did. We grabbed ice cream on the way out. The conversation was very one-sided when we were walking around, which seemed odd to me considering it flowed very well while we were eating. We got done walking around and looking at the vendors, and I was about to call it and go home, and she said, "What should we do next?" Against my better judgment, I agreed to keep it going as I had nothing going on that day and thought, what's the harm? We sat down and started brainstorming. I suggested a movie, and she said she wanted to do something more social. I suggested a vineyard that I know of that's pretty nice, and she said it was too hot for that. She said that she wanted to see live music, and I said, well, that sounds fun, but it's 2 p.m. on a Sunday, so the only place in town that would have live music would be Broadway, which is a touristy part of town that most locals try to avoid. She agreed that we shouldn't go to Broadway. I, love how this guy is telling the story. We couldn't decide on plans, so she suggested we walk to a nearby bar and get a few drinks while we decided some more. I thought that sounded great, so we did. On the way there, she noticed a group of people in the park doing exercises and made the comment, OMG, have you ever seen such small dick energy in your life? Which put me back, and I said, for exercising? She said, yeah, it's just so desperate. ... I didn't know what to say, so I kind of just brushed it off and switched topics. We got to the bar and got drinks, started talking, and again, the conversation was good. Eventually it came to a lull again, and she said, once more, so what's next? I said, honestly, I don't know. I've made suggestions that you didn't like, and music sounds nice, but it's not really an option. She seemed upset at my response, so she stopped talking altogether and stopped looking at me. I paid the tab, and we started to leave. The walk back to the car was more awkward. We got to our cars, and I said, all right, bye. And she said nothing. I got a text about 5 minutes later from her saying, that was the worst first date I've ever had. I can't always be the one suggesting where to go next and driving the conversation. I felt absolutely dumbfounded that she thought she was doing any of that. Needless to say, there was not a second date.
I have no thoughts. I'm just speechless. I'm baffled. I don't even know what I would even do in that situation if I was the one putting all the effort into a date. I think it's really weird. I mean, she's kind of funny though. I kind of like her. Even though she was kind of irritating, I kind of love her because
what's
she's
next?
kind of me. What's next?
I don't want to go home yet. What's next?
Because that's literally me. I'm just I just want to be entertained. I just want to keep it going, but I never know what I want to do. So
I feel like you did a little gesture.
Yeah. So what's next?
Oh my god, the first and only comment was posted a month after the original post was made. They said, "Aw man, I just started online dating for the first time back in September, and luckily I wasn't on too long before meeting my now boyfriend, but I went on a date with a lawyer." Oh, period. This dude showed up with turtle shell round glasses and a black turtleneck. He crossed his legs and stuck his fist under his chin. It was very stuck up.
Oh no, baby.
He only talked about himself for about an hour and a half. Everyone around him is apparently a narcissist. In parentheses, his brother, his coworker, his ex. Ugh. And he talked about his job so much and tried to relate because my friends are lawyers, and he would just be like, good for them, or I should know unless you're a lawyer too.
Question mark.
Finally, I asked, can you name 3 things I've said about me? 1 was my name, and the other 2 were things from my profile. I stood up and said, yeah, this date is over. He put 100 on the table and tried to buy my Uber. I told him I would not be giving him my address and walked home, LOL.
Walking home, she's dedicated.
Yeah. OP replied and said, that is wild. I don't blame you at all for walking home. I've had enough experience with narcissists to know that anything is better than giving them the satisfaction. Smart move. That was a good story.
That was.
He's kind of also I'm assuming that he's a man. He doesn't say 20 male or anything. And also there's no ages on any of these except the first story that we read.
Yeah.
But this person's username is BreeMan94, so I'm just assuming that he's
a man.
a he, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, he's funny. She's funny.
They're both funny.
The person who commented is funny.
Literally.
I feel like that's something I would do where I'm just oh, I'm just gonna go home.
Actually, my Uber's here.
Or the tale as old as time where it's can you call me in 5 minutes crying and I'll just say that there's an emergency, the cop out.
I've had to do one of those.
I have also had to do a few of those.
Yeah.
Okay, girl.
Alright.
What is your worst first date or meetup or whatever that you've had?
Yeah, let's get into that. So, mine wasn't a date. It was more of a hangout. Literally beyond awful, traumatized, never hung out with a guy.
A hangout or a...
It was a hangout. We didn't get to that part.
Okay.
It didn't last that long. Trust me.
He probably wouldn't have either.
Yeah. Clock that. So this was maybe about, I want to say 2 years ago. And during the summertime. So like June, July maybe. We'll call the man D. His name is D. I agreed to hang out with him because him and I had been talking for a while. And he wasn't like the most attractive man ever. But I was like, let me just give him a shot. Because the body was tea. The body was tea.
Ooh.
But you know, I was like, I can just put a bag on there or something. I can just put a bag over his head. First red flag, I had to go pick him up. He didn't have a car. Didn't have a license. Which, you know, for a man, it's like, I don't know, I feel like the girl, it's okay if you don't have a license.
It's a little feminine.
Yeah, it's like very like,
Passenger
girl.
Princess.
Right.
Nessa Barrett said it best.
So, you know, I pulled up in my big white pickup truck and I was like, I'm here.
Here.
Literally here. Woman in mail fields.
Literally.
Woman in mail fields. That's what that was. He comes out with the bag of Wendy's. He comes out and in his hand he's holding his 4 for $4 bag from Wendy's. And he gets in the car and he says, I hope you didn't mind I brought my food. I was like, sure, I guess we all get a little bit hungry. Whatever. We drive back to my house. Well, not we. I drive. I drive back to my house. We're in my room now at this point, and I turn on the TV because I'm like, it's a little bit awkward at first. I'm trying to make conversation, but he's just a little bit awkward. He's a little silent. So I turn on the TV and I'm like, you want to watch something? He's like, yeah, I have something in mind. He takes my remote, he goes to YouTube, and he puts on this, something I've never heard of on YouTube. It's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm like, why is this grown man watching this at his age?
Do you remember what it was?
I do not. It was like some like rap battle in the middle of a park. There was like 3 grown men and like
It's like KSI and like Jake Paul.
it was, I'm pretty sure it was like Fousey Tube or something. Oh, no. I'm like, what did I get myself into? We're watching that and I'm just like bored. I'm bored at this point and I'm like, I want him to go home. I want him out of my house. So I try to make conversation, try to speed things up so we can, you know, get things over with and so he can be on his way home. He has the audacity to ask me if I want to give him a back massage. A back massage. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I really don't want to give you a back massage. I don't know why you thought I would want to, first of all. So then he's like, oh, okay, well, do you want one? And I'm like, no. I don't want
Don't
one.
touch me.
Actually, I just want you to go home. But you're gonna have to call yourself an Uber or walk home because I'm not taking you home. I go to the bathroom and I text my friend and I'm like, hey girl, can you call me in a few minutes? Crying because I am literally hanging out with the most awful man ever. And she's like, yeah, of course. You know, thankful for my girls because if it wasn't for her, I probably would have been there for like 3 hours. So, you know, I go back to my room. She calls. You know, she's crying, she's a really good liar, and I get out of it, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta go help her, you have got to go. And he's like, okay, no worries, I understand. As we're leaving, because he asked me to take him home, I was like, sorry, I really gotta go, do you think you can, like, get yourself home? He's like, no, I don't have a way home, and I'm like, okay, whatever, it's on the way. I just wanted him out, so honestly, I really didn't care as long as he was leaving my house and never coming back. On our way out, he's like, can I warm up my Wendy's before I leave? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it'll just be really quick. I never said yes. He walks into my kitchen, opens my microwave, puts his Wendy's in my microwave, pushes the button, and then pushes start. And I'm like, you're joking, right? And I'm just like waiting as his fucking chicken nuggets and french fries are spinning around in my microwave, and I'm just like, what did I do to deserve to be in this situation? Because like, what? So he warms up his Wendy's, we get out of the house, we're in the car, I'm driving him home, and he's eating his Wendy's in the fucking passenger seat as I'm taking him back to his house. I drop him off. As soon as he closes my door, I block him. Don't even drive away. As soon as he gets out the car, I block him. Never spoke to him again, never saw him again. Yeah, that's my horror story hangout. And I'm glad I never had to experience that ever again, just that one time. And I learned my lesson to never give the ugly guy a chance.
Him even bringing the Wendy's out in the first place is so funny. Because, like, you guys can't go somewhere together to get food.
Like, if you were hungry, he could have said that and I would have been like, okay, let's go get some food, we can talk. But no. No, he brought his Wendy's to my house and then decided to warm it up in my microwave.
Also, like, kind of shitty that he, like, heard your friend crying on the other line. Regardless it was fake or not, like, obviously he, like, thought it was real because he's stupid. He then was like, actually, before you go, though, can I please put my Wendy's back in your...
Like...
in your microwave?
Like, what? I'm just, like, sick to my stomach. I, like, completely forgot about that until, like, reliving it right now. It's only fair that we get a little taste into your life.
I have had quite the track record when it comes to dating. Unfortunately.
Sadly.
I am just gonna tattle on Will right now. We've talked about it a million times throughout our relationship. Hello.
Hey, Mo.
Mo is joining in. Mozart. So, me and Will met on Tinder. We did.
Okay.
We met on Tinder. We talked for, like, I would say, like, 2 weeks, a week and a half before we, like, officially met. And he seemed so uninterested in me. He drove up to me. He pulls up to my apartment because I don't drive, right? He says, like, I'm here, or, like, I think I'm here, something like that, because my condo complex was, like, very, like, confusing once you, like, get inside of it. And so I go, okay, like, coming. I come down. He's not even gotten outside of his car. He's just in his car. And one thing about me is I'm blind, okay? And another thing about me is that I don't know what the fuck cars look like. So I, like, walk up to this car and I'm like, hey.
Shalom.
Hey. I get in, we say hello, whatever, and then we are like, let's go get some coffee. So we go to Alley Cat Cafe, which, if you're in Fort Collins, you know. We're just talking. We, like, sat down at a booth. He's not making any moves. So I am like, I guess I'm gonna go get the coffee. I get up and I get our coffee and I sit back down. And then the rest of the date was like, okay, I just didn't really know if I liked him. Rightfully so. He didn't really give me a lot to work with. He ended up redeeming himself, but I would say that that was a flop because he didn't really try. Okay, another one was also from Tinder. I don't even remember his first name. We had, like, talked for a few days. We had made plans to, like, meet up and go thrifting. He came to my condo, picked me up. He did get out of his car. I was already feeling a little weird because he was a lot shorter than he... No.
Oh, I was like,
just,
girl.
like, I'm, like, a height snob. I've been saying that for a long time, but I've never dated a man that's, like, under, like, 6'4".
Oh, shit.
So, take that how you will. I don't know. I said it myself. I'm a height snob. I don't care.
It's important, ladies.
Will is literally 6'6". Like, it's fine. Anyway, so he picks me up. He's shorter than what his profile said or how he had led me on to believe. And, like, this man was, like, 5'6", 5'5". I'm 5'4".
That's shorter than me.
Yeah, he was a little guy.
He was a little boy.
He was a little boy. I don't know if I'd even be able to describe it, but was wearing, like, this fucking, like, whack-ass outfit. Like, just very, like, I don't know if you're gonna get the reference, but very, like, Jordan Witzy-Gruder from the Ready set, like, circa 2013, 2012. He was in the girls section the entire time. Which, like, that's fine, right? Like, that's fine, but that's not what I'm into. And it wasn't, like, girl pants or, like, like a fitted girl shirt. It was like a peplum top type of girl.
Oh, well, you was a sir.
Which I'm like not into. Even for women, I'm like a peplum top. Anyway, yeah, it just like wasn't giving. So it was just a little awkward, and then after that, he suggested that we go into the mountains, and I started to feel a little weird, but I'm a dumb bitch and I don't ever listen to my gut. So we go up into the mountains, and it's really weird, like, I'm getting weird vibes. And he pulls out his film camera, yes. His film camera.
Film camera.
Like a fucking serial killer.
Oh my god,
but also, like, every single, like, I'm an artist boy in Colorado. And is like, can I take this photo of you?
Hello?
And I was like, sure. And then he
Sure.
pulls out his Polaroid, his old Polaroid, and offers to take another picture of me. And I'm like, okay, cool. After a little bit, I was like, can you just take me back home? I'm like not feeling well. Like, I just want to go back home. And he's like, you were just fine. And I'm like,
what?
Can you just take me home? So after a few minutes of back and forth, he takes me home. Also, this man makes music, so he's just talking about his music the entire time. He's just an artsy guy.
An artist. Okay, 100 streams, 100 monthly listeners.
Yeah, real.
It's giving 5.
He takes me home and he's like, do you want your Polaroid? And I was like, no, I'm okay. Like, I don't really like how I look in it. And he's like, well, I think you should take it. And I was like, I'm okay, like, you can have it.
You should have taken that. Who knows?
I ended up, because he would not give, like, so I took it, but it's just this, like, very weird.
It's just the small things.
Yeah, they add up.
They add up.
Well,
I
I think that's it for our first episode.
oh my gosh, did we really do that?
I think we did.
I think we cleared. Obviously, the drink was very amazing because she's gone. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed our first episode of Chatter and Cheers. We had an amazing time filming, talking, reading the stories, and just kicking it out with you guys.
I love a key.
Mm-hmm.
Give us suggestions on if there's anything that you guys want to see in the future, or also just like, we would love some drink suggestions.
Yes.
If you have write-ins for your own experiences, I'm sure that we'll be posting asking for people's experiences. If you see any Reddit stories that you want us to read and they're like crazy, or I don't know, just send them. We'll figure out a way to fit them into like a theme at some point. Yeah, I feel like this was a pretty decent first episode.
Yeah, the start of something amazing. Something new.
Start of something new.
Start of something fun and fresh.
You'll hear from us again on Friday.
Friday. We're not done yet, girl.
We're not
just
done
getting
yet.
started.
Oh my god, so much in store.
Bye, girls.